You're watching the GameSpot co-op stage, sponsored by LEGO Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the GameSpot live show here at E3 2016. Before we get started with our final segment, I'd like to announce the winner of today's LEGO Star Wars: The Force Awakens contest. That winner's name is Tim S. from Portland. Congratulations, Tim. The answer that Tim gave to the tell us your favorite moment from the Star Wars Force Awakens question was, when Han tells Finn, that's not how it works, when he's asking about the Force. It was a nice, like, youngin', you need to get learned. Tim wins a LEGO Millennium Falcon and a copy of LEGO Star Wars: The Force Awakens for the platform of his choice. Congrats, buddy. All right.
I clapped already, but I'm clapping again.
That's cool. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Watters here with Jovenshire, Sohinki, and Lasercorn on the GameSpot E3 co-op stage. We are wrapping up E3 2016 by talking about E3 2017, because E3 2016 is over. It's old news.
Done.
It's done.
God,
We're not even here anymore.
We've heard everything.
Emptied out. We're in an empty studio. There's no one here.
It's a dead zone.
Yeah.
But looking ahead to next year, let's talk about some predictions, things that we think will come true. You can some wishful thinking in here, totally acceptable. We can go through sort of platform by platform, but do any of you have something salient? What do you think will be? Joe and Char, you've been talking about the theme of E3.
Yes.
What do you think the theme of next year's E3 will be?
I think this was there's so many games for the current consoles that we've already had out. VR is kind of out of the way, but with the major announcements of Scorpio and Neo, I think next year is going to be the what is it, the
new
console,
the console year.
Yeah, the NX as well.
Yeah, yes. Well, we'll probably get that then, right? Not before, or do you think we'll get NX before E3 2017?
Ooh,
that's a hard one.
I think that. Okay, so with consoles, right? What do you need to do? You need to have something exciting to show. You need to convince people, like, yeah, I'm gonna spend another couple hundo on this thing. Yes, I'm excited about the future. So for that, you need not just the console to look good, have good specs, but you need the games as well. I feel like it might be a little soon to show it ahead of time and then have like a big event next year at E3. I feel like if next year's E3 is, hey, here's the Scorpio, here's what it's really called. Hey, here's the, hey, here's the NX, and we have these games for it. I think we'll probably hear about the Neo PS4 ahead of time, ahead of next year's E3, because it's the only one that like hasn't really been tangibly talked about as much.
Here's my wishful thinking for E3 2017. Now we're seeing like Project Scorpio. It's essentially a PC they're coming in. They even have a keyboard and a mouse peripheral coming out for the Xbox. So we're seeing things sort of unify a bit. We have the Xbox Play Anywhere stuff. You can play your games on your PC and your Xbox, and maybe you can play anywhere, even on a PS4 or the next PlayStation. Here's what I want to see. Cross-platform, real cross-platform unity. Everyone being able to play any game.
I don't think we're very far away from that.
Anywhere.
How does that work in your minds? So do you just, because you're like, all right, you say you want to play a God of War on your Xbone. Are you subscribing to PlayStation Plus and that's what allows you access to it? Are you getting a disc that, it's an ultra high Blu-ray situation?
I think in the future, and I don't even know that this is necessarily, the way it has to be, but I think in the future, the only reason that you would pick an Xbox machine over a Sony or PlayStation machine is the exclusives. But then any game like Call of Duty or something that's going to be on
Call of Duty
everything.
or a Street Fighter 5, like those can be played on multi-platforms. That'd be great. Have your God of War on PS4, have your Halo on Xbox. But I'm with you. I don't think we're very far away from people just being able to have really cross-platform
Their motto will be, actually play anywhere.
It's catchy.
Yeah.
We've been seeing a lot of remastered games, and we've been seeing the VR trend. I'm going to say it. I don't know if it'll actually happen, but what might be cool for 2017 if we start seeing old games come into VR. Like I always thought, like Twisted Metal 2 would be really cool in VR. just to see like Mr. Smash coming at you or the shadow thing racing along the ground.
I have not
from
played
the inside, see the window shattering and stuff.
I haven't played a driving game in VR yet.
Yeah,
Have you guys?
It might be cool, right?
No, I haven't.
Well, it can't be too much different from the piloting
you
games,
didn't
can
get
it?
to, you didn't
Yeah,
get
it's
to
kind of a
control it,
cockpit
but
thing.
there was that extension of the heist thing on
Oh,
PlayStation
yeah.
VR where you're in the car
Car
now.
shooting.
Or even a new Twisted Metal for VR. I
But
would
what
love
I'm
to see.
thinking is, I mean, would a car crash in VR mess you up a little?
Oh, would it be traumatic?
Yeah,
Probably.
would you get some feelings.
But I
about
mean,
it.
you got to push the envelope. You know,
Very
they
true.
used to say like the kills in, you mentioned Killzone, they were too intense when you're gouging people's eyes out and stuff. And like, we've moved past it. So they might be like, oh, the car crashes are too intense.
we're gonna have
having
to
a
back
missile
off from
coming
that.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not gouging eyes out in every game now.
but-
It didn't become a thing.
Oh, that's true. Well, I don't know. There's some pretty vicious stuff in the new Doom. Do you gouge
that's
eyes?
very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I think definitely realistically how these go is like we'll get the major announcements and then we'll see more of it this year. So I think all the major announcements this year we're obviously going to see more of next year. If Mass Effect doesn't make it out before E3 next year, which part of me wonders if it will, I think we'll actually see real gameplay and something great. But more importantly, it's going to be EA. I think EA, hopefully they learned from this year, and I think they're going to have a great show, Star Wars-wise. I think next year's theme is going to be Star Wars.
Yep.
Because they didn't show us anything from Battlefront 2, which has already been stated to come out next year.
And they did mention that it'll have content from the
From
new
new
game,
movies.
or
Yeah.
the new movies,
Which was stated before, they said it again here. They really didn't give us a lot. They did say that Visceral now has a game coming out in 2018.
Yep.
So I think we're going to see Battlefront's game. We're going to see Visceral's game. We're going to, I think
Respawn Entertainment's game?
Respawn's going to have their game. I think EA is going to steal it next year with Star Wars.
Because, man, they told us they were going to. They're like, we have such cool Star Wars things here. We can't show you anything.
More
Yeah.
info
but
later.
It's gonna happen.
I'd say one of my biggest disappointments and one of my another wishful thinking thing on the Star Wars tip is when Star Wars 1313 got canceled, I was the saddest gamer of all time. The saddest. I wanted to see that game so
What,
bad.
that
The
one
brief
trailer,
little
the
bit of
tiny
gameplay we
gameplay
saw.
snippet?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
But then you
looked
find out
so
it was going to
good.
be a Boba Fett game afterwards. It was
Yeah.
just like,
And like, look, Jedis are cool and everything, but they're not the most interesting thing about the Star Wars universe to me.
There's a lot
And-
of cool stuff going on there, as evidenced by how much Disney is sort of putting into,
Yeah, Rogue
Star Wars
One
across
looks
the board.
incredible.
So good, that
Yeah.
trailer. Star Wars news, I totally agree is going to be big at next year's E3, but I also think we're going to hear about a lot of it beforehand at Star Wars Celebration.
Yep.
That I think is becoming a bigger and bigger
Yeah.
event as Star
more
Wars.
now
you know,
than ever before with Disney owning everything and having a new Star Wars movie every single year. When is that normally? That's an earlier in the year event, isn't it? Like
I
in
literally
April or-
went to it last year, and I think it's in the spring.
Yeah.
In Anaheim, but then they also have one in London, I believe, that they're
Yeah, they're moving them around.
Star Wars going to be there in a big way. Mass Effect, I mean, it better be there. But here's my question about EA. This year at E3, EA did not have a booth on the show floor. EA did a press conference, and then they had EA Play at a venue near the LA Convention Center. This was a place where you can, show off your games to the public.
Yes.
Right.
And public people can come in. E3 is an industry event. What do we think about do we think EA will continue with that approach or evolve it in any way in terms of their presence at E3?
I think that's a really good point. And I think that's just E3 growing as a convention because traditionally it has been a industry event.
Yeah.
It's been opened up to the public once or twice, didn't really work as
And a lot
well.
of people have been predicting, like, oh, the next year is going to be the year they reopen it to the public. Oh, it's going to be the next.
I think this is the way to do it because
Right.
we have EA, you have the Doritos area over at Nokia Live where it's open to all these different games, and I think that's a great way to do it. It's literally E3 and PAX at the same time.
Yeah,
So
I
you
think-
might not walk into the doors, but at this point in time, do you need to walk into E3?
I agree. And here's my bold prediction. EA expands that and makes it makes it a big weekend fan fest before E3 leading into it. They do some announcements,
neat.
they do their press conference. It sort of feeds into E3, but they get all their big news and impact on the weekend preceding. This is something I do not want to happen because I don't want to be in LA covering E3 for more days.
Oh my God, yeah, wow.
But I think that, you know, they see the power of E3 is getting people to talk about your games. One of the best ways to do that is to get them to get some hands on the games.
Yeah, 100%. What I would like to see is Fallout, what Bethesda did so great last year. I thought they did the smartest thing ever, where they blew us away with the Fallout 4 announcement, but even bigger than that was, hey, it comes out in 3 months.
Yeah.
Where's that at?
Yeah.
Where were any of the release titles this year? There were a few. Okay, there's a few.
Sure.
But like, at the end of Mass Effect, I'm like, where's the release date? All right, end of God of War, where's the release date? Legend of Zelda, where's the release date? That's the new thing. Have release dates.
Fallout 4.
I don't think people
have
like to
release
give them.
dates, please. But yeah, yet you also have those games that, yeah, how early is too early to announce? You know, like you got Horizon Zero Dawn. It slipped a little bit. Do you get mad when games are delayed these days, or how do you feel about it?
I don't think I get mad when games are delayed, especially when it looks like it was for a good reason. For Honor was delayed, and then we find out that there's this massive single-player campaign that they've added. It's when games get delayed again.
Yeah.
And then they get delayed again. That's when you start questioning what's going on.
Like, oh.
And then you hear these rumors coming out that, like, oh, the director of the game's been having a problem with the publisher, and it gets all messy, and yeah. The first delay, I'm just like, it's probably for a good reason, you know.
Mass Effect was
I'll give you
supposed to
guys the
be
benefit of the
fall of
doubt.
2016 and then moved to first quarter of 2017. And I thought 2016 was ambitious in the first place. So I saw that and I was like, yeah, I want the game to be good. I'll wait.
Yeah. Okay. I'll wait. I'll give it.
I don't want to be dangling. I don't want to be dangling here with these great games. It's like, just, it's so close. Give me some information, because that's what E3 needs to be. E3 is about information. Bring the best information you got, give it to the public, and let them go wild with it.
I have another wish list item.
Let's do it.
For 2017. So there was a game that everyone was very excited for. It was canceled. And then this year we saw a game trailer. We didn't see any gameplay or anything. It's starring Norman Reedus.
Oh,
Death
yeah.
Stranded.
Death Stranding.
Stranding, yeah, excuse me. And no one really knows exactly what this is.
And you can't tell from the title, because the
don't even
title
know
doesn't
if
make any
Death
sense.
Stranding knows exactly what that
we
is.
know that Norman Reedus is naked amongst a bunch of fish.
There was a baby.
There was a baby there.
involved.
Yep.
And
Some things
dead
in the
fish,
sky.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Definitely some sky things.
look, maybe Konami realizes they messed up. Maybe we see Silent Hill. That's what I want.
Oh, interesting.
Do you want a Silent Hill? It's not. You know, it's not.
Silent
It's a
Hill.
new
Kojima's
creative
sitting there
team,
drinking his
but-
cup of Konami tears.
Yeah.
Maybe
You know,
they
it's
realize-
interesting
All right.
'cause
All right.
Resident Evil seems to have jumped in and kind of filled
Yeah,
this,
that's true.
this space. If you look at the Silent Hills PT and the Resident Evil trailer, kind of a little similarities going on. It's creepy. It feels almost more like a Silent Hill game than a Resident Evil game, at least one of the newer ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe they come back. Maybe they're like, oh damn, they're gonna
We
do it
messed
before
up.
us. Yeah, we gotta get out there. Yeah, it could be. I really want to see more about Death Stranding. Kojima said it's not going to be a horror game, so hopefully by E3 2017 we know more about the game and we see where it's going. Who are those guys in the sky?
I feel like we got another
Yeah, that was
Metal Gear
crazy.
Solid 5 situation on our hands.
Oh, yeah?
Where it's like Death Stranding, but then the actual game title's revealed 2 years from now, and then
Yeah.
the actual
And it
game
turns
comes
out to be a Metal
4
Gear
years.
game.
And it turns out to be as phenomenal. Oh yeah,
That's the new
brings it
thing.
back around.
Full circle.
But they
Konami was
they
in it
just
the
have to
entire
do the
time.
long con until they can somehow get the rights to Metal Gear.
Solid Snake, Liquid Snake. This is Gaseous Snake.
Gaseous
Snake.
Snake. Yeah. Norman Reedus says
Got to move through all the elements.
Yeah.
All right, here's a question.
Yeah.
Sony has the PlayStation VR. Do we think that Microsoft with Project Scorpio is going to be, and their relationship with Oculus, are they going to be getting into VR next year at E3?
That's a really good question.
I
Like,
think they'd be silly if they didn't.
yeah,
That's
they
my take on
they
it.
do have their AR headset, which I thought it was very smart that they didn't mention, because right now every VR department is trying to be different than the others. So to say we're actually different because we're AR, I think you get lost in all the news. I think it was smart that they didn't mention anything this year. I think we could see something from Microsoft VR-wise next year. Maybe they're waiting for PlayStation to see how it works.
And
Let them make any
well,
mistakes and they'll do something better.
Also,
Who knows?
on that note, I would like to see more news about the HoloLens. We had a very early version, and we tried it out, and it's cool. It's
Phenomenal.
great. I would like to see the expansion of that, maybe that little screen gets expanded to be the actual size of the visor and that kind
I feel
of
like
stuff.
the logistical challenges or the programming challenges for augmented reality for those HoloLens things to bring it beyond that small field of view are like astronomical.
Yeah.
That sounds like impossible.
Microsoft teams up with Google. Google glasses into HoloLens. Two giants working together. We win.
There we go.
Let them
Rumors,
fight.
baby.
What
We're
is
starting
the-
them here.
What is the practical application of AR though in like making games? How does it sync up with
Practical? No.
There's nothing practical about it.
Really
Practical.
cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Being able to have a computer screen here on this wall, but like be able to look over here, and on this wall is Netflix. Like,
And also
this
to
is
have like
great.
natural light still be able to enter your eyes.
Imagine,
Yeah,
imagine
that's
playing
true.
a game of the culling. I know you love the culling.
I do enjoy the
And
culling.
you could just have that scoreboard. You could move it. It's like, boom, let's put the scoreboard over here.
That
Now
is
I
a good
can easily
application.
check
Now when I
who's
look
still
over
alive.
this way, you've answered my question. That is the practical application.
I
And I
don't
hate
think-
trying to find the freaking scoreboard in that.
Up in the
game.
sky, you
Yeah.
never know where it is. Sometimes
Yeah.
the sun's
Sometimes
blocking
there's a
it.
tree in my way. Sometimes I'm in a building.
But with
true.
HoloLens, I don't think we're gonna see a lot of gaming elements to it. I think they have their relationship with Oculus. I think next year we'll see more of that with them.
We'll see
That's
that.
my thought on it.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the folks across the way here, Nintendo. Reggie mentioned the NX. You know, that console is definitely being developed. It's happening. Nintendo has taken sort of an approach lately of doing Nintendo Directs.
Yes.
You know, they're not pinning all their hopes to information download at E3.
Yeah. No, they didn't do a press conference. But at the same time, they did a Nintendo Direct.
And let's remember when the PlayStation 4, the first time we saw that, was its own presentation outside before E3.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking we see the NX in a substantial way
Yep.
before E3.
I do too. Because, and I agree, only because of the release rumors of the new Legend of Zelda being available on Wii U and on NX. What they did with Twilight Princess was they released it on Wii first, which was a new console,
Yep.
and then a month or two later was the GameCube release. So will they do it at the same time? Will they do, maybe NX won't be ready, maybe we'll get the Wii U release, and then a Game of the Year edition on NX when that gets released.
I think I like them doing the Twilight Princess thing again.
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda to goose the sales and then of the new console, and then you put it on the Wii U so people can't say the Wii U never had a new Zelda.
Yeah.
Even though it kind of did.
Well, you know,
yeah.
so here's the question I have, and it's a little weird because this console's coming out pretty quickly in comparison to other consoles after the Wii U came out.
Well, certainly given the Wii, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 generation was so long.
Yeah.
It looks like we're coming back to a shorter cycle.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, it seems like we've had a new Smash Bros. Game with every single new Nintendo console. Is it too early to get another new Smash Bros?
I think they should absolutely launch with the Smash Brothers. I think part of the problem with the Wii U and why sales were not great at first was they didn't have a Smash Brothers, and that's like their big flagship title. That's what everyone wants to play.
Their big flagship title is Mario. Let's keep it real. I'm saying there's going to be a new Mario announcement with that console situation.
That'd be interesting.
They got to launch with a Mario, right?
I do
He's the
think
guy.
so. They have do you do a Mario and a Link title around the same time? That's almost unprecedented for Nintendo in recent years.
Yeah.
I do think though, to what you said, I think honestly these companies are stepping away from the console generation. Because if you look at the talk with Xbox One to Xbox One S to the Scorpio, it's all going to be compatible. It's just an upgraded version.
Mm-hmm.
What if we're just upgrade like the PlayStation Neo? Is that the PlayStation 5 or is it the 4.5? What if they aren't generations anymore? They're just upgrades, much like a computer gets upgraded with time.
One thing is clear, they've got to do a lot better job of messaging what exactly those different iterations are.
All
than
three.
they currently
All
are.
three.
'Cause
I
right
think
now
they
it's
just
all
wanted to get the
fake.
information out there. It's like, no, we have 4K. No, we have 4K. We've got Zelda.
One thing they gotta
Can't
stop
argue with
doing is making these really cool names for things and then making them lame afterwards. It's like PlayStation VR was Project Morpheus. Project Scorpio is just gonna end up being like new Xbox.
Xbox
2. Yeah.
All right, we've talked a lot about the consoles. I want to get into some more game stuff. Thinking about Ubisoft, all right? They got Ghost Recon Wildlands coming. They've got this year, and they've got For Honor coming next year. Let's talk about The Division. Huge seller for them. They've got to be working on Division 2. Do we hear about it at E3 next year?
I don't know. That game's pretty massive.
I think it'll be
unlikely that it would come out that soon.
I think it'll be kind of like along the lines of Destiny, where we didn't get it Destiny 2, we just got a whole new
Some big expansions.
Yeah,
and they did talk about those during their press conference.
There's still enough player base enough that they can just keep supporting the regular game. They don't need to release a sequel.
I think that's a good call. So
How
here's
about,
my Ubisoft prediction.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, do you guys?
No, go ahead, please.
I say another one of their Tom Clancy franchises comes back.
Yep.
So which one do you? I'm thinking. Which one do you want?
Splinter Cell.
You want Splinter Cell or do you want Rainbow Six?
Splinter Cell.
We have
Splinter Cell.
We have an interesting story.
I'm not playing with you
Splinter
ever
Cell.
again.
We played the hell out of Splinter Cell at one of our first internet jobs ever. We were assigned to do the co-op walkthrough, and he had every single achievement in Splinter Cell except for the one where you win the duel at the end of the co-op. And
He had
I
it
already had the achievement.
He already had it.
And he was like,
You did
dude, let
it.
me kill you. And I was like, you gotta work for it, man.
No, but more
took him
importantly,
out.
it was my fault because I was failing the last mission more times than him, and we're there till like 2 o'clock in the morning trying to finish. He was not going to give me anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is not inclined to be accommodating.
But
there.
all right, the point of the story was we freaking love Splinter
Yeah,
Cell.
like the
and
co-op has always been great stories
So
like
good.
that. Like, I was kind of sad I didn't get another one announced this year, and that's okay. I'll wait till next year. I think that's a good point. I think we will.
All right, so let's think about Bethesda. They had their press conference this year. We'll be seeing more of Prey and
Quake Champions.
We'll be seeing, Fallout in VR and stuff. Quake Champions, right?
Yeah.
What's next for? What are they gonna?
As much as I would love to see it, and as much as everyone would love to see it, I don't think we'll get Elder Scrolls 6.
Don't think so.
I
New
think
Elder
it's-
Scrolls?
Yeah, I think it's too soon
I
because
have
there's some time in between each one of those.
I have a weird prediction about Quake.
All right.
So they've already announced that Quake Champions is this like hero shooter, and we're wondering how is that going to be with Quake? And whenever I try to describe Quake to someone as far as like what it's going to be as a hero shooter, I'm like, I don't know, it'll be like bloody Overwatch. And then they say, oh, you mean Lawbreakers? And I don't know if you've checked out Lawbreakers at all, but that feels like essentially what that is. It's bloody, gory Overwatch.
Uh-huh.
So I have a feeling that Quake is going to end up having to pivot on their game a little bit. Not necessarily stray away from the hero shooter, but they're going to have to, between now and next year, decide what makes it different, and I have a feeling a lot of that's going to happen behind the scenes.
That's interesting.
Right now, especially after Lawbreakers comes out.
Yep, Lawbreakers is coming into alpha pretty soon, and we've got Overwatch in full swing.
Yeah. I'm gonna counter your prediction. I think we will see a new Elder Scrolls game.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it's time. I think it's ready. I think they're remastering Skyrim.
We'll get you up to date.
Yeah. They want people to play that again because I think they want to get you psyched for what's next. I think we will see a new Elder Scrolls, or at least a little preview, a little sneak peek at the
I
next
would love
E3.
to. I would absolutely
Perhaps a
love
friendly
that.
wager, a friendly $5
No,
wager.
last time we made a wager, I wanted to be getting a mohawk shaved onto my head.
Perhaps a friendly Mohawk wager.
Nope, I like my
Live
hair.
on the air.
I want you to be right, so I'm going to agree with you.
Okay, all right.
I would have liked to see the wager.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Here's-
interested.
You're not confident in your predictions, Joe.
No, because I want to be wrong. I do think, how great would this be? Because what Blizzard did with Heroes of the Storm, which was super brilliant, was took all of their
Bring all of their
franchises and put it into an RTS. Could you imagine a
ARTS.
Bethesda, ARTS,
Ooh.
could you imagine a Bethesda fighting game? You get the Dragonborn versus Corvo, or the Quake guy versus the Doom guy. I'm sure they have names. That's what I want to see.
Bethesda, and then you got
Like-
you got your Pit Boy, you got Fallout,
Yep.
Fallout Boy in
Yeah,
there.
it just gives you the
turning
thumbs up and
it's
then
like the
beats
Mr.
the hell
Game
out
&
of you.
Watch version.
Yeah.
Like you
Speaking
can
of
sing all these
unlikely
different
fighting
forms.
games and things that definitely won't happen, we have a show called Gamer Fights that we're launching soon, and we were talking about who would be a good person to develop a new Mario game besides Nintendo, and I went with NetherRealm. I want to see the brutal, disgusting, bloody Mario fighting game.
So Mario Mature is what we'll get next year at
The
E3
entirety of
2017.
Japan will sue
2017.
you.
Confirmed.
That's what's
You know
going to
what?
happen.
Speaking of fighting games, we saw Injustice. You know what we haven't seen is a Marvel fighting game. And I think it would make more sense than Injustice because in the Marvel Universe, I feel like the characters are a little more balanced.
Now, are you talking a brand new Marvel fighting game or like Marvel vs. Capcom 4?
No, I want to see a Marvel fighting, like an Injustice-style game. Characters from the Marvel Universe fighting
cool.
each other, maybe with a story of what's going on.
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
I mean, I don't know. Marvel is not too big these days.
Yeah, I
People
know,
are
they don't
like-
have any money.
Yeah.
And
Right,
it's
they're
so
flat broke.
funny.
They can't possibly.
It's not like they've
No.
got a ton of heroes that they're developing in a bunch of different forms of media or anything.
I don't think Lasercorn. I don't think you're very far off because Marvel did say that Spider-Man is not going to be their only video game. They are going to start to expand really big in the video game verse. So maybe we will.
2017 might be the theme. Might be all about Marvel. Yeah. Maybe they'll create a video game universe, crossovers between
I'm okay
the
with
games.
that.
I've derailed this. We were talking about developer to developer
Oh, no,
connections.
we're
Yes.
off the rails. We're
Yeah.
crashing down the hillside, and we're almost done.
What's
so-
great about E3 2017 is it can literally be whatever we can imagine it to be.
Yeah.
Because who knew that we were going to get some of the titles that we were going to get? Like,
Games are getting
it could be
better and
anything.
better.
It could be anything.
Games are
and
getting-
that's why it's magic.
better and better and faster, and it's becoming this thing where every single year I'm like, I have so many games to play. I don't know what to play. There's 20 different games. They're all incredible.
Yeah.
Guys, that sounds like the perfect positive note to wrap up our E3 live show here. Thank you, Jovenshire,
Pleasure.
Sohinki,
Thanks for having us.
Lasercorn, for joining
Thank you
me
for
for
having
this
us.
segment. Great to talk with you guys. And thanks to all you folks at home for tuning in for GameSpot's co-op stage coverage. It has been a pleasure to have all our friends on stage here, talk about the discussions, and engage with you in the comments. Big shout out to our crew for making this all happen. And ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of E3 to still enjoy on GameSpot. Please be sure to check it out. But for now, I'm Chris Watters. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you next year.